Hello, everyone. Happy Build with Britt live stream Thursday. We'll make this a thing. It's going to be a thing. We're going to make some cool stuff today. Who here is ready to build an AI bot with me? We're going to make a sidebar where you can open up the sidebar from any web page in Chrome and ask ChatGPT a question. It's going to answer it for you. Let's build it. We're going to do it in less than 10 minutes. You ready? Check this out. Okay, so I'm going to share a link to this tutorial here. I'll add this in the description of the video. For those who are watching along, I will post in the comments here. There's a link if you want to follow along there, but you can just kind of follow along with me here. So we are going to follow this tutorial and build a chatbot. To get started, you're going to need an account with Pixibricks. Get all the way to the top here. You're going to need an account with Pixibricks. Free. You can get one. Follow these links here. You're going to need the page editor open. I'll show you how to do that in a second. And we're going to assume you've done some other Pixibrick stuff. Specifically, we've got a basic translation tutorial. I'll add a link to this in the video description from my live stream last week where we went through that. So we're going to assume you have a little bit of a handle on concepts here, but don't worry, I'm here. I'll walk you through it all. And then, we're going to go through these steps and I'll show you what to do. So let's get started by opening the page editor. To do that, from any web page in Chrome, you're going to right click, you're going to choose inspect. And then it's going to open up all this stuff. If it's propped over here on the side, you're going to want to bring that, if it's like propped up like this, Pixibricks doesn't work super well like that. So you're going to want to click these three dots and bring it down to the bottom. And then you're going to look across these tabs for Pixibricks. It's typically at the end. I recommend dragging this about halfway up your screen. You're probably going to, when you're building, alternate between moving it up and down. Super easy to do. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to add a sidebar panel. And every mod starts with a starter brick. And you have various options to do that. So click this add and you'll see these different starter bricks that are available to you. And this is how you want to initiate or launch your mod. So in this case, we want a sidebar panel. So we're going to click sidebar. All right. Next, we need to configure this sidebar panel. You can see it's already appeared here. First, in this middle panel here, this is our brick configuration panel. This is where we configure things about the selected brick, which you can see it's sidebar panel. So let's go ahead and give it a name, Ask ChatGPT. Tab title, Ask ChatGPT. We're going to change the sites to all URLs and click ABC, then remove on the docs.pixibricks one. This just says it can run anywhere. Next, we're going to change the trigger to state change, and I will explain why we do that in step 3, but effectively, we are going to get that response from ChatGPT, and that needs to be the trigger to refresh and show us the response. So you're ready to move to the next step when your sidebar panel brick looks just like this. All right, so next, you may have noticed when we added that, we got another brick called the render document, and this is our document, sort of builder brick, and so you see this data panel here changes, so you can see all of these different things. You can see, all of my preview of my elements here. And so we're going to click on example document because when you click on an element, your middle panel here changes, so you can edit that. So let's go ahead and replace this text. You can add emojis. Let's go ahead and call it Ask ChatGPT. Maybe we'll adjust the size, make it a little smaller. And you can see if you click render panel, we can start to preview it up there, even though we were already previewing it here. We can change the sizes. Let's go ahead and get rid of this text element. By default, you always get this, but you can get rid of it if you need to. Just click it and click that trash icon. Boom, it's gone. And so now we're ready to move to the next step. And we're going to add a form element because we want to give you an input box where you can put your question and say, hey, ChatGPT, here's my question. So click these three dots on the innermost column element. This one right here. Click form. And you'll see the custom form brick has now been added. So let's go ahead and review some of these settings. I'm going to skim through these kind of quickly. You can read more about them if you're interested in doing more stuff with forms. We don't need to worry about a description. For the data location, we're going to save it to the page state, and we're going to, keep it all in the mod. We're going to not worry about the auto save and submit, but there are two things we want to change in this setting. We want to change the submit button caption to Ask ChatGPT. I really want to capitalize that second, or that S there. Okay. And then go ahead and click render panel and you can see, okay, this is what that looks like. So we get a little preview there. One more thing we want to change, we want to click the custom submit handler, and that's going to add a new section to the pipeline where we can add specific actions to say, do this when we actually, click that button and submit this form. And we'll get to customizing that in just a second, but there's other things you can change here. I'm not going to go into detail about them now. But let's go ahead and configure our field. And so every field you have has these types of options. It's very standard if you've worked with any other sort of form field. All we need to change is we're going to change the name, and we're going to change that to question. We're going to change the label to Ask ChatGPT your question below. And you can see how this previews here, right? So this is the text that goes above the field. Name is how we're going to reference the value of that. We don't need field description, so we'll just click this ABC and then exclude, and we will leave that as is. And again, you can hit render panel to see how this previews up here. You can see I've been playing around with it, so I've got a question saved to the state. Just go ahead and refresh the page and clear that out. So you can see, here we go. Okay, cool. And so we're ready to move to the next stage when it looks like this. Boom, it does. All right. So now we need to add actions on the form submit. So we're going to go back into this section and we're going to click the plus sign and add the run with async mod variable Britt. Click that. And this basically says, hey, we're going to give you some actions to do. Go do all of those actions and keep track of the status. So if it's loading, if it's saving, if there was an error, and then keep track of the data and what we get at the end of all of it. So lots of cool tools. I'm going to show you some more of what we'll do with that in a minute. But let's go ahead and change this mod variable name to ChatGPT. And it should look like this. And next, you notice we got another section within here, this body of what runs. Go ahead and click that, and we're going to add our ChatGPT brick, which is create chat response with ChatGPT. Add that in there, and now we're going to configure it. So first of all, we're going to add an item. You can add a system prompt that's something like, you're a chat tool. You can, you can feel free to customize this, and it could be whatever you want. You may set this if you're trying to do something super specific, like respond to something in a similar fashion or a similar style every time you want to run this bot. So do that, and then let's add another item, and we're going to set this one as the user. And for this is where we're going to pass our question. So to do that, we're going to type at values, which takes us to that form, and then hit the dot, and you'll see that field there. So values.question. All right. There's other settings you can adjust in here. We're not going to talk all about that right now. Check that out later if you're interested. So let's just test our mod real quick and view our response. So let's just see, how many miles from New York to Los Angeles. Hit Ask ChatGPT, and we're not going to see our response yet because we haven't told it where. But if we go look at our page state, you're going to see that we have in this current data, we have an answer. The driving distance from New York to Los Angeles is approximately 2,450 miles. So now we want that to show up in the sidebar. So let's do that. So we're going to go back to our render document brick, and then we are going to add a row. So click these two dots, add row, click these three dots now, and click text. And then in here, we're going to put, you can just copy and paste it here, but we're going to put this. And again, you can edit it right here in the middle. And we're adding these question marks just so the mod doesn't error when you first open it, if you don't have any questions set there. So that's how that needs to look. We're basically saying, hey, take that response from the data and then render it there. We can also style that. So we might, for instance, change the text color. That could be kind of fun. And then, we can run the mod to try it out and see where we're going when we render the panel. Oop, I forgot an important step. You need to make sure this ABC is changed to variable. So now render panel. And you can see now we have our answer here in the sidebar. So let's do one more fancy thing real quick. I want to add a loading indicator because it's a little confusing sometimes to see if it's loading or not. And so since we can track the status, we're going to go ahead and use that. So let's click these three dots, add another row. And we're going to actually want to move that row above the element we've got here. So really wants me to add text in there. Go ahead and do that. So we're going to take that and move it up here. So now it's above the response. And so it's sitting like that. We've added our text element. And so now we're just going to edit this text to say loading. And we're going to have some conditional logic on here that says only show this when it's actually loading. And so you can see from the page state that we can keep track of the status of ChatGPT. So when it's loading and whatnot. So that's how we're going to reference that value and just say only this is hidden if it's not loading, which is what we want it to do. All right, and so now we look like this. So let's just add an action really quick because this will be really cool. Let's say you have this response and you want to take that response and be able to, add it to a customer query or something. So click these 3 dots. We're going to add a button. And notice that when you added the button, it added a new pipeline here into our Brick Actions panel. And so, we're going to click that and give it a new name. We'll probably call it like set input value. The button label is going to change the name of the button. So you can make that set to that. You can change the style of the buttons, whatever you'd like to do with that if you want. And then we're going to add bricks in here because any brick you add is going to run when you click that button. So go ahead and click that. And we want to search for the insert text at cursor brick. This is a newer brick we have right now. And again, you're just going to take that content, paste it in there. And then, one last thing I want to do. I want to make this response row hidden unless we actually have a response, because otherwise it might be kind of weird to, see just that set input value button here. So just like what we did with the loading thing, we're going to change it slightly, but we're going to say true. If it's not success, if there's not a response, don't show this. All right. And so now we'll just save our mod, click that little save button, and we will try it out. So you can ask a question now, say, how many miles from Earth to the moon? Ask ChatGPT. And the average distance from the Earth to the moon is about 1,000 miles. So this is how you would build a chatbot. And now you can, close the page editor and you can access this from anywhere on any page on the web. Just open that up. It's right there. You can ask your question. And, I said, let's see, who is Leslie? Nope. Ask your question. When you see that loading indicator, we get our response, set input value. It's going to find if you have text on the page. So right there, it's going to set that there. You can see I didn't set that as a variable, so that's why it's showing that response. So if we go here, fix that real quick, and we're going to go variable, save, and now it will actually set that as the actual response. And so this would be super helpful for responding to questions or doing whatever you need to. If you want to fix tweaks on it, you're like, that's a little close to each other. You can learn all sorts of things about styling in the document builder, adding margins and padding. You can add even more actions to this. You could make it go through multiple times. You could make it give you multiple responses and list out all these responses. There's lots you could do to that, but I'm going to go ahead and stop now. Because we're over 10 minutes and I'm hoping you're inspired and excited about what you can build. So if you have any questions, reach out to us, and thanks for watching.